You hear that noise? That is the sound of another Pondcast beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I actually think this is, I'm glad we're starting a little bit late because I had to go run and take a number one. I get nervous right before everything starts. Last week you saw me trying to go, and that was what was happening. My name is John. Welcome. I'm here with
Tony. Hello.
Tony. And we are in the process of a little bit of technical back and forth. Who did what here? We're trying to get our some other things started. We have a guest for you today. We're just working on making sure that he can get in on this, but we just wanted to get started in the meantime. Hopefully everyone is having a wonderful afternoon to late evening. We're really happy that you were able to join us, and I think we're going to start it off. We're going to start it off with an announcement. Is that right, Tone?
Sure, we can make an announcement. So
we have several announcements, so let's just do at least one of them now.
Several announcements, sure. First announcement that I'll make is for anyone who watches our videos on YouTube. Obviously, we try to post a lot of videos to YouTube. Recently, we've had a few more in the past few weeks. We had a Red Eared Slider video that did really well. And we're trying to always bring a diverse collection of videos. So one idea that Steve Enders, the founder of the Turtle Room, and I have been kicking around is having what we call Species Spotlight Saturday, which the triple S, not to be confused with you know what, shower and shave. This is the different.
It's alliterative. It's alliterative. We'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah. So.
Also, not to be confused with Feces Spotlight Saturdays.
Is that what it sounded like I said?
No, but just don't confuse it.
So anyway, the plan is that every Saturday we'll have a different species that we briefly highlight on YouTube. It's basically going to be one of us holding a turtle, talking about the animal, some quick facts. It's something that we think will be very useful for newbies, people who want to learn about different species, things like that. Every time we do a short video like that, people really usually appreciate it. So we're going to try to do one of those every Saturday, starting pretty soon. Steve, do we want to try to start that next? Do we say we wanted to start that this weekend?
If you can get one ready to go, yeah. Otherwise, it'll be next weekend.
No pressure. No pressure, Anthony. All right. Well, I'm gonna try. So we're gonna try for this weekend, this Saturday.
We should try to have an announcement be what the species is going to be as well. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, that's what you think. So
that's just a suggestion.
That's what you think.
So we also, just for the record, you probably see on your screen that, and he just spoke, but Steve Enders, the director and founder of the Turtle Room, is here. Say hi, Steve.
Hi.
How's that dinner coming?
Great. I ate mine earlier, of course.
Oh, what did you have?
The same thing. Chicken patty sandwich.
Perfect, chicken patty sandwich.
Quick and easy.
Can I get a chicken patty sandwich? No, not the right way to ask either. So we want to do our second announcement as well?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, this is the exciting one. We are excited about the species highlights, species spotlight Saturday, if you will.
Thanks, John.
But this is a big one, and this is actually one of the things that we really wanted to get into and we'll talk about today as well. So, Steve, I'm assuming you want to do the honors here, right?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be glad to. The Turtle Room is officially now a member organization of the AZA, or the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We have been accepted as a part of the organization as a conservation partner. Actually, one thing we were going to try for the podcast tonight was we're going to try to go gray and make all of our logos grayscale, but they just wouldn't upload onto this dumb thing tonight. But in case you're not aware, today is World Elephant Day, and the AZA and the Wildlife Conservation Society are raising awareness for elephant conservation by with the Go Gray campaign. So you've seen some posts on our nice John. So
That's
you may
how
have
John
seen some
conservation.
posts on Facebook about elephant conservation today. So we are now a member organization of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. So we're really excited about that, and we're not sure exactly how that partnership is going to continue to grow, but we're very excited for this opportunity.
Please, if you're listening, viewing, tuned in, check out 96elephants.org. There's a lot of information on there, but it's also a petition. It's an important petition. I signed my name to it and my actual email, which Tony likes to just sign up me for other things and put my email down. I use my own email because I'm a man and I support conservation enough to get a funky email every once in a while.
That never happened. That never happened.
True. I still get tickets or coupons from Wendy's that are from you. It's a really dastardly move on your part.
That's not true.
So the AZA, that was a pretty long process, correct? Or that's not anything to sneeze at. We were very excited about that. And Tony, do you want to talk a little bit about the AZA? I think that's a good. I know that Steve just touched the basics, but like just kind of give a little bit more background on that.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a long process, I don't think, but it was. I think that we were. We're hearing our guest right now, but he's not on. Here, I'm sending them a note right now. So, I don't think that it was a long process necessarily, but I do think that it says a little something about what we're doing, the fact that we were selected. So,
Right.
I could be totally making that up, but all in all, I think that it's a pretty good representation of who we are, what we're trying to do. And I think when we went to fill out the application, Steve and I worked together on it, but I think that it really it was really easy to fill out because it was exactly it's just who we are. It's our mission statement. It's what we're doing right now and what we're trying to do. So it was really a simple process as far as that's concerned.
Tremendous. Steve, do you have anything to add about that, about the AZA itself and how the process went? I know I'm interested to hear a little bit more about what it
like
takes to be.
Anthony just said, it was. I think it was easier than I was expecting necessarily. I guess they do most of their research into your organization after you send the thing in. Yeah, they basically want to know, about your mission and how how you compare or can support their conservation and education missions. So.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
so that's a big deal. That's a big deal. We at the Turtle Room are extremely excited about it.
It's huge. It's huge. It's I think it's something that sets us apart from some other groups, and we do things a little differently. We're not necessarily about keeping a bunch of animals. Our goal is to keep a select few animals and really do things to the best of our ability, and also obviously provide education to the general public. So,
education, conservation, and/or survival.
Right. Like that.
We also, by the way, I don't think we talked about it last time because I don't think it was up yet. But we have the map.
Oh yes.
I wanted to talk about that. If you haven't gotten a chance to look at our new educational tool, which is it's an interactive map that shows you where all the different species of turtle and tortoise are located geographically. For a geography nerd such as myself, it's great because I can see where what I can see if I'm out herping, if I'm out in the wild. What is actually there, and then it links to a lot of other stuff that will be other resources about those species, and we're working on getting more of those more of the species profiles up, and they're going to link to that. So hopefully some of you have already checked that out. Obviously, we did. We had a lot of numbers. A lot of people were, saw it, and a lot of people from a lot of different places, which was cool. But please check that out. Can we get like a screenshot of that or something?
Yeah, give me a second here. Trying to remember where that.
So yeah, as far as the map thing goes too, what's so cool about it, as someone who looks stuff up all the time, I'm always looking up different species, trying to learn about it. There's the map right there. What's really cool about it is normally you pick a species, whatever, given species, and you'll look it up and you'll see the range and all the range countries. But sometimes in your head it's tough to put together the map where things are in relation to one another, where that animal might be, where that animal's range might be, as far in comparison to another species that might live really close by, or maybe even share some of the same range. So now you can actually click on countries and see which species are in every country in the world, and actually see where they are in relation to each other, and also where the biodiversity hotspots are as well.
How big is Greenland, huh?
Right.
Greenland is just enormous.
Right.
We just
No native species.
not one. That's really. I wonder if there's any species at all, let alone native. I wonder if anyone in Greenland owns turtles.
Yeah, it'd be tough to keep them outside for sure.
That's where else is there no native species? Is it all the black ones?
New Zealand, yeah, the darkest countries. New Zealand,
Mongolia?
Iceland, Svalbard and Jan Mayen, and some of these other northern. The United Kingdom doesn't have any native species any longer. Same with Ireland.
What did they have?
Introduced red-eared sliders in the United Kingdom.
Oh, right. And Chile, I see, with zero species.
Introduced red-eared sliders in Chile.
Those red-eared sliders, they just get everywhere. And actually, that's another thing that I wanted to mention. As you all know, the lovable and amazing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Did any of you guys see it yet?
No.
No.
No. Well, that movie is out, and we put up a video. Anthony put up a video about the horrible effects of owning a red-eared sliders when you're not prepared to, and you should definitely check that out. Tony, I don't know. How is the new movie affecting that?
Well, the quick and simple answer to that is, of course, I have no idea. I'm sorry, I don't really have an idea yet.
Perfect.
It's pretty, yeah.
Do you think Raphael is still cool but rude?
I hope he is. He was always my favorite. Everyone liked Michelangelo. I was definitely a Raphael guy, which is surprising because I'm a pushover and a nice guy and a wussy.
You are Michelangelo. I'm surprised that you didn't.
Yeah,
that you didn't
yeah. I
recognize
don't know.
that.
Actually, I like to think in my older years I'm becoming Donatello. Admit it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Donatello,
Definitely
let me just say for everyone, you see our guest is here. So if you're wondering who the strange man is with the mini blinds behind him, is that what those are called? Venetian?
That would be.
No idea.
No idea. That is our guest for tonight, Steve Rosen, not Rosen.
Yes,
Correct.
That's correct. Good. Good.
Nice. And a dog.
Nice. And the boxer. Those dogs
All right,
bark
well,
a lot.
So welcome, Steve. Steve, you can hear us. We're all loud and clear. Is that?
You guys were loud and clear. Am I loud and clear?
Yeah. You're also a thumb up for me. I don't.
A lot better than before.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, then, let's get right into some of the things that you wanted to talk about. I know that I had some specific questions for you, so I will go ahead and start. Tony mentioned that you have had a lot of success breeding the Quora galbinifrons. Is that Is that properly pronounced?
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about working with that species? They're amazingly attractive. I know that, but can you expand on that a little bit?
The species themselves it's not really all that difficult of a species. You just have to be able to follow the weather of their native habitat.
Which is what?
Northern Vietnam, Hainan, China.
So like rainy, a lot of prostitutes, a lot of drugs, a lot of vets, Vietnam vets, that type of thing.
So stupid.
So you do or do not have drugs in your apartment right now?
No.
You have to. I mean, you have to make it accurate here, guys. You got to stay loyal.
You're
Wow.
so bad. That's racist. That's almost racist.
It's not. If you had ever read a book, Tony, you'd know that that's what the Vietnam War was like. Jeez.
It's
Watch
not
Forrest Gump.
1971 anymore.
I know. Okay, you have another fact about Vietnam? No. So high humidity, lot of forest situations we're dealing with. Is that right?
Yeah. As far as the protected areas are still somewhat natural, but there's a lot of poaching and such going on. Asia as a whole, obviously, it's growing. It's under economical. So.
Okay.
But they
Why
have it
are they so hard to work with, or why are there so few people working with them in the United States?
Originally, they were pretty plentiful in the late 90s to early millennium. They were exported into the United States and several other countries fairly cheaply, but they have a lot of medical issues going on with them, and nobody knew how to treat them.
Right.
And that's one thing, I should say, that's one thing that our guest, Steve, specializes in. He has a great knowledge of reptile husbandry, also reptile disease and medicine as well. If I ever have a really tough question, I know who I'm going to go to, and it's no question really, because I mean, can you speak a little bit to that, Steve, as far as you know, especially with the fresh imports? I mean, we're not seeing them imported really very much anymore. There was a recent importation last year, but is there any kind of knowledge that you can share on fresh imports in general? Because we are still seeing a lot of imports happening right now with different species.
Imports in general, they come in two different flavors, at least in my experience. There's imports that are freshly caught and shipped over, and then there's ones that linger in the food markets, change hands several times, or mix with other different species. And it's the latter of the two that cause quite a few of the problems. However, whenever you get anything imported, it's always good to have a good vet on hand, because honestly, they're the only ones licensed to be able to deal with it. But on the absent, you'll have to excuse my dog. He's a little bit reserved. Yeah.
I thought you left a window open during the weather.
What's that?
I thought maybe you had left a window open or something. You said you're having bad weather. It sounded.
It's a twister.
It sounded pretty intense.
There's a tornado. I'm gone. See ya.
Sorry.
We had an accident last November. It was pretty bad news. So,
Sounds hard.
anyhow, back to the galbs. As far as imports, there's a few protocols that are floating around on the internet as far as how to treat them. I can't advocate one way or another. Obviously, each drug that you give is specific to what you're supposed to be treating for. And
So you are giving the turtles drugs. I was right about that.
yeah, but we're not shooting them up with heroin, dropping crack or something. You know, no.
Just a little something to take the edge off. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. Probably sounds stupid.
No, didn't know.
So,
oh wow.
Have you had any major? Is there any great? Obviously, you're something of an expert with this specifically, dealing with diseases, is there any major success stories or something that you'd like to, pat yourself on the back on? Did you bring one back from, from the dead, the land of the dead, the land of the dry shell?
I brought back several that were kind of swirling around the proverbial toilet, but that just comes with experience and time.
Right. Okay. So what can I do to make my girlfriend love me more? Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, no, that's a different question I'm reading. Sorry, I'm embarrassed.
That was for his therapist.
Whew. Oh yes, that was from a therapist.
Money.
Good answer. Maybe it was the right question. As far as diseases is kind of diseases is your thing, I guess. That's a weird statement. But what is I was reading an article recently about the salmonella outbreaks that are kind of now happening a little bit more in species other than turtles that are kind of get the most often get the bad rap for that. Like salmonella, like I said, is attributed, like the 4-inch law is based on that. Is there anything new going on with that? Why are the bearded dragons getting it now? Is there a reason?
It started being published around, most of what I saw around April, that mostly children were getting salmonella, and they were able to trace it back to small bearded dragons. And I didn't catch if it was fully because they weren't washing their hands. Obviously, there's some sort of oral contact after touching them without washing their hands. That'd be the only piece, unless we're putting it in the mouth. And, well,
Right.
That's just, where's the parents?
Right. I mean, is it oral contact with the animal? Like, obviously not like in your mouth, but like just touching an animal and then touching your hand to your mouth? Is that what can do it, or is it a fecal thing?
Usually, salmonella is transmitted through feces, just like E. coli is passed in humans through feces.
Okay, and just like friendship is passed through the college mail through feces. That's how I became friends with Tony.
That was a unique story, John. Everyone doesn't go through that.
Okay, that's true. Well, everyone doesn't have you for a roommate. Tony used to make me look at his doo-doos a lot, and it helped our bond. Is what I'm.
Talk about record breaking. Nobody wanted to see those.
Yeah.
Someone had to see it. If you don't document it, it didn't happen. If there's no witnesses, it didn't happen.
That's true. That's
Let
true.
me just say, back to the salmonella thing, and obviously we know that's how the 4-inch law came about. The 4-inch law of, what was it, 1975-ish, right? But you can't tell me that turtles are the only animal where their feces can transmit salmonella to small children. You can't tell me that if my child, because I do have a child now, thank you everyone, if my child goes outside and starts...
If you could more casually bring that up, Tony, that would be great.
That was good, right? I seamlessly put that right in there.
Not a big announcement.
I've been a dad for like 11 days. But if my daughter, who is pretty much independent at this point, if she could go outside and start eating dog poop off my lawn, can she not get salmonella or Ebola or fill in the blank from that?
Ebola. That'd be bad news. You know what? Chicken, poultry in general, my dog starts to bite me. Poultry would be probably your most concern, as far as I'm concerned, as far as salmonella contamination. You have to remember that prior to the whole turtle issue, or even the new bearded dragon issue, that was the major source of contamination for salmonella infestation.
But chicken tastes good. It tastes like chicken, which is why there's not going to be a 4-inch law on my chicken nuggets, which unfortunately I would really appreciate if there was. But
so
if nuggets that needs to be over 4 inches, that'd be great.
So if it's cooking the chicken is what makes sure you don't get salmonella, correct? It's raw chicken is the issue for eating. So all you have to do is cook the bearded dragon or your hand after touching the bearded dragon. And what is there other options that you can do to eliminate that possibility?
Absolutely.
Like wash or
put your slider to 170 Let them simmer.
Fire it up. Good. I like it.
Which again shows us that there is nothing that a George Foreman lean mean grilling machine can't do. Am I
True
right?
story. That is
Because that's
true.
what I'd use.
That is true.
Perfect fit. Such a businessman.
So, I mean, in actuality, is there what can you do to prevent that? Is it just washing, or is it just having your hand viciously gnawed off by a mammal?
You know what? Hand washing is paramount. I always suggest after hand washing. Some people are big into the Germ-X or alcohol-based. I might have to cut out for a second here and deal with something.
Deal with something. We can do that if you need to.
Parental supervision is always a good thing. I'm getting my hand gnawed on here. I'll be right back.
This is great. This is great.
I've ended interviews in a stranger way. I just can't think of when.
That's so good.
And you know that's what the good thing about turtles is they don't gnaw your hand off. Love them. Love dogs. Big dog guy. They
could.
Turtles don't bite you.
They could.
They also don't bark.
All right.
Could be a positive or negative.
Oh, he's back. We're good. That was short.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Or something?
Yeah, you didn't kill the dog, did you?
No, dog's still alive.
Okay, good. We wouldn't want a live bloodletting on our hands. That's good.
He'll be all right.
Yeah. So, I have another question. Obviously, Ebola has been in the news. What is the relationship with that and animal husbandry?
Absolutely nothing.
Perfect.
He just wanted to talk about it.
Yep.
It just sounds like a nasty way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting turned inside out? You betcha.
Is that something that is that an interest for you? Like, do you know about Ebola because of your disease stuff? I feel like I want to talk. You're like the new disease guy now. For me.
Disease
anyway.
guy or diseased guy?
Yes. I mean, I don't know you that well enough. I'm sure you got something, but.
Congratulations. Disease guy.
So, I mean, is there anything that the general public needs to know about Ebola? I don't know it.
Everybody's talking about Ebola right now. Ebola is one of those interesting viruses because it's nearly always fatal, at least until recently. The two Americans that they brought over and treated, they're treating with a new treatment. I'm actually looking for the company right now, but it's in conjunction with the United States Army. And I believe it's 3 monoclonal antibodies, meaning there's just 3 different antibodies, and they're treating them, and it actually helped them. Usually, Ebola is 90% fatal. So, and there's several animal vectors that will serve as reservoirs. They don't exactly know how it's transmitted. Bats being one of them, swine, primates. So it's one of those interesting viral diseases that we won't see so much in, say, the United States. At least we hope we don't see.
Right.
But it's always been in Africa. And until they brought these doctors back to the States, it wasn't too much of a big deal. The public never thought of it. The media didn't care. So.
Right. You don't get the media involved. Again, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen.
Why is it that it's in? I know this is getting off topic, but why is it that it's in Africa and not handled well in Africa?
You got to think about the economics of everything. I mean, I don't know of too many villages in Africa that have, trauma 1 hospitals where they can handle anything at any time.
Right.
We spoke about this on the phone. We spoke about this on the phone the other night, Steve. If if you're looking at these countries and we're looking at it through like these blinders of how we understand the world to be, and we don't necessarily have a grasp on how things are in other countries. And we talk about that all the time with conservation. Like, we don't understand how a beautiful country that has plowshare tortoises and radiated tortoises walking around in the wild can, let those animals be exploited and let all their wild places be slashed and burned or whatever they're doing there, like charcoal production or whatever in Madagascar. I just think it's absolutely wild, and I know we spoke about that on the phone the other day. But you also wanted to talk about conservation. Do you have anything necessarily? And I know this is like the broadest thing in the world, but you talked about some things that you thought some hits and or misses as far as conservation efforts are concerned. Anything in particular you want to talk about to that?
I kind of wanted to back up just a little bit when you were talking about economics and as far as conservation goes.
Sure.
Africa and even Madagascar, since it's right off the coast. Obviously, those countries aren't known for their wealth, so there's still a lot of famine going on. A lot of those countries are still war torn. Poaching's a viable alternative to them. I could get, say, $1,000 for a tortoise, or I could go to work at a diamond camp, for example. Now that might seem a little bit stereotypical, but it's not meant to be so.
Hollywood, yeah.
But it's just the fact of the matter. Everything revolves around money.
Right.
So what's the cure then? How can you combat that when it's something that is important to us, like like in Madagascar, they don't have the money, and it's important to us because the species that we work with and love are there, but there's not a lot that we can maybe necessarily do short of going over there, but then we don't have the money for that either.
Because the best way to deal with that kind of situation is empower the people. You need to show them how to farm, to show them strains of crops that they can use. You have to work at the people level so you can, in turn, work at the animal level. As soon as we learn that those species need to be cherished, I just read online that over 5,000 radiated horses were killed by 50 Malagasy natives, and they're mostly kids. And I didn't get the whole story, but that's over 5,000 individuals, and they all look to be adults.
Right.
So it's a tragedy. It cannot go on. It's not sustainable. So we need to work on more on the people aspect. I know a lot of great conservation experts, but until the people issue is dealt with, their population keeps increasing. They don't have sustainable ways to make money. They don't have sustainable ways to even feed their families. So, I can go try to raise corn and let it fail 5 years in a row, or I can go butcher a few tortoises. You have to think about it from their point of perspective.
Now, I see that happening a little bit. I mean, I see the TSA, the Turtle Survival Alliance, doing things like that. At least their magazine is saying they're doing that, and their email blast that they send out every couple of weeks is saying that they're doing that. They're saying that they're spending money to teach kids in school about how to identify tortoises and how important they are. They're teaching poachers to be guides and to protect the tortoises, and paying them to protect the tortoises, because I know you said you just threw out a number like $1,000 for a tortoise, but I think, and I know you were just throwing something out for conversation, but I think sometimes they're actually getting a small amount, because when they sell it, it's to a middleman who then brings it to a market, who then it gets shipped around, and they don't get that much for those tortoises. So if you look at that as opposed to something like the Endangered Species Act in America, they're going to list spider tortoises now, which are also from Madagascar. So, and we talked about this last episode, but if you spend all the money to pay, I don't know how much money goes into that, so I'm totally pulling this out of where, but if you could spend the money to pay wildlife marshals or whatever to enforce something like that, that money could probably much better be used much more effectively in the range country, educating people and paying people to protect the tortoises. Is that true? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So are there any specific conservation efforts that you can talk about as far as successes or failures as far as that stuff?
In regards to ESA, I mean, there's been a lot of criticism, basically because U.S. Fish and Wildlife declared all those constrictor snakes as injurious. But, you know, it's also had, and they're even endangered. It has to do more with the Lacey Act. But, you know, as far as successes, ESA, they brought back the American alligator. They brought back the American bison. I mean, there are good things to it. However, you know, you also have to look at species such as Indian spotted pond turtle. Not as rare as you think it might be.
Right.
They just happen to be fairly landlocked in a few states.
Right, because of the ESA. Right.
Correct.
I have a question for the ASA. So it's fairly fluid, right? Species get taken on and put on and changed. Their classification is changed on a fairly consistent basis. Does that work against, like, should we just say, all right, listen, we brought this species to the point where it was almost extinct. Let's just protect it for the rest of its existence. Why do things get taken off the endangered species list?
Do they?
They do, yeah. They can definitely be reclassified.
You know, eagles were taken, I think they were downgraded. I'm not sure if they were totally taken out. But as far as turtles, Indian spotted pond turtles have been there since ever I can remember, as have one of the podoc species. I believe it's not expansa, it's Uniphilus.
It's Uniphilus. Both of those have been in since the very beginning. What year was that? 1975 or 76? I can't remember. But whatever the first year was, they have been on there since the beginning.
You know, and they're not necessarily as endangered as, and I don't even know what the process would be to have it reviewed.
Right. I don't know. It seems like, I don't know if that's obviously it's not in our hands, but I wonder if it wouldn't be more effective if we just said, you know, I mean, I'm repeating myself, but like we just said, look, we already, you know, we owe you guys one. We already almost killed you, so let's just keep it there. But I mean, I guess it's like you said, there's so much with conservation. There's so much that's hit or miss anyway, regardless of what the effort that we're talking about is. So I guess it's kind of good that it's that there's anything protecting whatever the species is. You know,
right.
And we all are trying to. We can do our part, and like that's like the the Turtle Survival Alliance is a great way that you and I, regular quote unquote regular people, we're obviously kind of a little nuts about this stuff, but we can contribute to that directly, and we can then have some effect on it. Guys like myself and you, Tony, and probably our viewers.
Right.
I mean, how do you feel? I think Steve may be coming in and out here. I think we just lost him. But I mean, Tony, how do you feel? Did you enjoy, or what do you get out of being a member of the TSA?
I love being a member of the TSA. I really love being a member of the TSA just so that I'm a part of what's going on. They're doing amazing things. Like I said, they're actually out there. They're sending people to these range countries to work, and they work with specialists in all of the range countries where major critically endangered species are. So I think the TSA is really doing the right thing. I think where the concern is with the ESA, which is the Endangered Species Act, which is a federal law in the United States, I think what happens is sometimes we'll list these non-native species, these exotic species, like the Indian spotted pond turtle, Geoclemes hamiltonii, and we'll list them, and they're not that rare in the wild, and there are a ton of them here in the United States, but they're all in Florida because the ESA is keeping them there, because what the ESA does is limit the interstate commerce, trade.
Right. So why are they Why are they included in the ESA then? At all?
Well, that's the point. Is they've been there since 1975-ish, and there's really no point for them to be there.
So they were endangered in 1975-ish.
Now Steve Enders and Jared Siatkowski, that everyone knows from the Turtle Room, we all have our CBW permits. That's captive bred wildlife permits. When you get that permit, you get it stipulated for certain species that are on the ESA. They won't give it to you for native species, so you can't get the bog turtle listed on yours. You can't get the ring map turtle listed on there, but you can get species like the Galapagos tortoise, the Indian spotted pond turtle, the yellow-headed podoc, which Podocnemis unifilis, which our guest Steve Rosen was talking about.
Yeah.
So we have many of those species listed on ours. The problem is the person who does the permits just moved out. Someone new just came in. I believe the gentleman's name was Mike Carpenter, I think, who did the permits. And I'm not trying to bash anyone. There was a new person coming in, and now there's a lot of fear that they're not going to give out the permits as easily. I think it's a great thing if they give permits out to people who really care and will go through the red tape to get the permits. But if it's really tough to get permits and animals are going to end up bottlenecked in Florida and they're going to become like the next red-eared sliders even though they're on the ESA, that doesn't make much sense. I mean, people are giving away those Indian spotted pond turtles now. That's not good, you know?
Right, but at the same time, isn't it like, so when you take them off and then the whole situation will change, and then all of a sudden they'll be exploited again, exploit these resources that we have, and not that, you know, you want to call specifically a species a resource, but I mean, it'll end up being, okay, let everything go free, and then next thing you know, we're going to be having hats, we're going to be making hats out of their shells. Just because there's going to be so many of them. Same thing with red-eared slider. It's the type of thing that, okay, there's so many of them we don't even know what to do anymore.
Maybe in Florida, yeah. Maybe in Florida with those, yeah. But that's, I mean, that's the point. There's so many of those,
kinds of crazy
and there's
stuff.
I get emails. I get emails all the time from people who are really wanting to keep that one species and can't get them because it's against the law. But there's so many of them that people literally, the breeders in Florida, give them away to people, give them to their friends because there's just not, you know, you
no
can't
demand.
sell them. You can't sell them. There is demand, but there's no demand in state, and you can't sell them.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I mean.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a shame. Obviously, for anyone watching, you could see that our guest, Steve Rosen, was not coming through really well.
Yeah, he passed away. The dog bit him. We're really sorry, Steve.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I'm so crying. I like him a lot, by the way. And I know we got a short glimpse of what, you know, his knowledge base and the stuff that he's into, but the guy is really brilliant, and we're really grateful that he was a part of the show. And
yes,
we hope to have him on again, and hopefully we figure out the technical difficulties that we were having while he was on, and we can make it a little better, a little smoother next time.
Yes, definitely. We thank you for sticking with us while we figure that stuff out. Our loyal audience. We're going to wrap it up now. Again, thank you for tuning in. Is there anything else that we need to say, Steve?
Nothing extra I have. Of course, I missed half the thing thanks to internet problems, too. Apparently, it's just not a good night for Steve's and internet.
The internet is wacky out there.
Man.
Tony, what do you have? Would you like?
One pathetic loser. How do I have the best internet out of everyone? I don't know.
You don't have the best internet. I have easily as good internet as you do. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Your internet's not better than mine.
Did I get bounced out once? No.
I've never been bounced out. I haven't
been
bounced out yet.
Neither have I. So we have at least equal amounts of internet goodness.
Yeah, that's what you think.
You're
Anywho, stay tuned for the new Species Spotlight Saturday, which will just be a brief video every Saturday again, highlighting a unique species where we don't get, you know, mix in a whole bunch of different stuff. None of those variety videos that we do. This will just focus briefly on one species, so that some of the newbies out there can learn a little bit, hopefully, about a new species every Saturday, or maybe learn something new about a species that they already keep or that they're already interested in. So stay tuned for that.
Amen. And please, in the vein to finish off the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing, please, please, please go out and rent the original and watch that, because that one was really good.
Right. Secret of the Ooze I like too.
Secret of the Ooze was okay. I mean,
no, it was cornier, but the first one was better. But I like Secret of the Ooze.
I watched them both recently. All three, actually. The one where they go back to China too, or Japan, wherever they go. Japan. The first one really holds up. The second one was a lot cornier than I remembered.
And the third one we won't even mention.
The third one, again, they go back to Japan, and no one really remembers the plot.
Can I make one more announcement? We're going to clear out with one more announcement.
Please.
So everyone was able to meet, and I know it's confusing because we have two Steves. We have Steve, our founder of the Turtle Room, and our fearless leader, and we all know him very well. But the other Steve, who was our guest today, Steve Rozon, who I always want to pronounce it wrong, that's why I take the pause. But Steve Rozon is a new member of the Turtle Room, so he's joining the team, not as a breeder, although he has wonderful experience breeding really awesome species. He's joining us as, what's the title, Steve? It's a educational resource
provider.
Provider? Is that what it is, Steve? And I think
we're going with educational resource provider because
Great.
Steve's internet is funky.
And
so
if that's wrong,
welcome, Steve Rozon.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you for having taking the time out of your day to come on the show, and we're going to sign off now.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good. See you later.
We might not be able to do that.
Yeah, Steve has to do it. we got bonus time, lightning round, Pondcast edition, last 10 seconds.
Wonderful experience. Breeding. Oh, this is so good.
Hey, wait. Steve Rozon's back.
Educational resource. Oh, this is good.
Sounds like there's a delay, and Steve is just hearing what you just were saying before.
I don't think so. I think someone logged into the YouTube. That's what happened. This is so bad, Steve. Enders, come on and end this for me. Steve, live up to your name and come on and end this for us.
Steve Rozon, I don't know if you heard it, but we were just saying thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we're really excited that you're going to be a part of the Turtle Room team now, as we also announced that.
Well, hopefully next time we can get the internet squared away.
The internet, it still gives a lot of people trouble out there in the woods. You guys, we'll get you. We're going to get some HDMI cords or something.
It's like 1997 in here.
It is.
Gosh.
It is indeed. So, considering both Steves, we just signed off, and then we couldn't sign off because you were
I wasn't here.
So, we would like to sign off again now. That would be greatly appreciated.
All right, let's try.
All right.
Age, sex, location.
Thank you for having, take the time of your day to come on the show. Something funky is happening still.
Quite a night for the technical difficulties, huh?
Yeah.
And we're gonna sign off.
Don't forget the dog difficulties.
Have a good. See you later.
John, did you draw a mustache again?
I have a mustache.
Draw.
It still says that we're alive.
Oh, drawing on me.
All right, signing off.
Prove it.
See you all in a month.
Yes, to do it. we got bonus time, lightning round, Pondcast edition, last 10 seconds.
Wonderful experience. Breeding. Oh, this is so good.
And with that, we're pressing the button.
Please.